Hi, this is Mrs. Camp with a government quickie. We're going to take a big picture overview of the Constitution, look at how it sets up a federal system, the articles, and a quick peek at the preamble. So, as we've learned, the Constitution replaced the Articles of Confederation. They had set up one central body of the national government, the legislative branch, the lawmaking branch. There was no executive, so no one to enforce the laws. There was no judicial, no one to interpret the laws. They had no way of making any law that they passed stick. It was very difficult to make a law because it took 9 out of 13 states to agree to update the articles, took 13 out of 13 states. And the national government had no way to raise money. They could not levy taxes. They could borrow money, and they could ask the states for money, but that was about it. So this set up a federal system of government. This is the diagram we've looked at before, where we have the central government sharing power with the states. The state government down here has some power. The central government up here has some power. They have a little bit more power than the states, but the idea here is that the two share that power. If you remember, our friends, the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, when it came time to trying to ratify the Constitution, the Federalists were in favor of this system and wanted a strong central government, where the Anti-Federalists were afraid of this, afraid of a strong central government, much like they were afraid of a repeat of King George. So they wanted to limit the government's power, which is why we ended up with the Bill of Rights, because they wanted to specify certain rights that there was no way could be taken away from them. We're going to be looking at a slightly different diagram starting next week. We're going to be looking at a Venn diagram, where here we have the federal government and their powers. We have the state governments and what they're allowed to do, their powers, and then there's a bunch of things that they share, such as taxes. Both the federal and the state can charge taxes, which is really good and fixed one of the problems with the articles. But that is something we'll be doing next week. Right now, let's take a quick peek at what the Constitution contains. So there is a preamble, which is the introduction, and it tells us the purpose of government. Why do we have a government? And then there are 7 articles. Article 1 covers the legislative branch. They make the laws. Article 2, the executive branch. They enforce the laws. Article 3 is the judicial branch. They interpret the laws. They look at what's been said in making the laws and figure out what it actually means. Article 4 discusses how the states should get along, their relationship. Article 5, how to amend the Constitution, so amend being to change. Article 6, stating that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, which basically means that any laws that go against it are not legal under the Constitution, and the Constitution wins. So basically, Article 6 is saying, I win. And then Article 7 is, this is how you ratify it. Ratify is to approve. So it says, okay, we have this Constitution. We want it approved. This is how we're going to approve it. So something you need to learn is that we sometimes look at the Constitution as a tree to look at the 3 branches of government. We have Article 1, the legislative branch. We have Article 2, the executive branch, and Article 3, the judicial branch. So we hang each of those on a part of the tree, and then sometimes we'll put under it that, say, the executive branch has a president and a vice president, and the legislative branch, which is Congress, has the Senate and the House of Representatives. and that the judicial branch has the Supreme Court and lower courts. So here we're going to take a look at the preamble. The purpose of the preamble is to say why we have a government. What is the purpose of our government? So it starts off, we the people. When you see we the people, you think who's in charge, who holds the power? It's the people. That is that whole social contract thing we keep talking about. We've talked about Locke. We've talked about Rousseau and how they believe in a social contract. We've looked at how John Locke influenced Thomas Jefferson with the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And here now we're writing the Constitution, and we're going back to this social contract. We the people, power of the people, or as we've talked about, consent of the governed. Okay, so consent of the governed being that people are giving permission for the government. People give permission. We make an agreement. We consent to this. In order to form a more perfect union, if you remember from our discussion of unicameral, uni is one. So what we're doing here, we're saying, okay, a purpose of government is to form one country, one nation, and with the uni. So we're taking all of the states we have under the articles and pulling them together so we're actually a country instead of a bunch of individual states. To establish justice, to make sure that things are done properly, to ensure domestic, that's at home, okay, so inside the country, tranquility. So we're trying to ensure that things are peaceful. This is that whole creating order. Okay, creating order for people. To provide for the common defense. Okay, that's our military. Promote the general welfare. Okay, that's taking care of people. Making sure that people have safety and can have what they need. And secure the blessings of liberty. Liberty is freedom. And I just discovered that this is missing a couple words. It should say for us. So to secure the blessings of liberty for us and our posterity, where posterity is the people who come after us. Okay, so the purposes of government here, we have we the people, that's the consent of the governed, we give the government permission. In order, that's telling us purpose, to form a more perfect union, so taking all the individual states and making us actually a nation or a country. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, that's the order and peace. Provide for the common defense. That's where we think military, defend us against others. Promote the general welfare, create safety, make sure that we can get what we need, and secure the blessings of liberty, liberty being freedom for us, so you and me, and our posterity, for the people who come after us. So at this point, you're going to go on and you're going to work on the remainder of the assignment. Hopefully this gives you a good basis overview to move into that assignment with.